it's Shelby here. Welcome back to a little literary love. I'm glad you all are with me today. Today's video I'm gonna do kind of a Kindle Unlimited check-in of sorts, and then also kind of a TBR. I did a Kindle Unlimited TBR. It was way longer than I thought it was. I thought it was in fall, but I actually filmed it I think back in June or July, so it was in the summertime. It is now end of November. I'm actually filming this on Thanksgiving before I have to go and do things, since I'm actually off today. So we're heading into December. It's the end of fall, so I figured it's time to do a little bit of a check-in. I thought I would go over the books that were on my prior TBR and all the books that I had borrowed that were on my Kindle Unlimited, books that I had checked out, I don't know, however you call it. Go through all those, let you know if I actually read them, if I DNF'd them. Hint, hint, most of them I have DNF'd or not gotten to, unfortunately. And then I've got a bunch of new books that I have borrowed on my Kindle Unlimited, so I thought I'd go through those, and hopefully I'm gonna get to all these books soon. So we're gonna get right into it because I have a lot of books to cover, a lot of books to talk about. Although the books the check-in part, that I'm gonna try to do pretty quick. So in my last video with my Kindle Unlimited TBR, the books that I had checked out, so I had Rejected by James and Eve. This was the Shadow Beast Shifters or something book, a paranormal romance. I DNF'd this. I read a couple pages, which I try to read more if I can, but I just really was not feeling this. It's been a really long time since I've read James and Eve. I did like her in the past, but that was early on in my romance journey, and I'm pretty sure she is medium steam, or her books build up in the steam, and I have just been in a mood. I want lots of steam in my books, so I DNF'd that one, unfortunately. Then I have Scandal by Nevessa Allen. This one is still on my Kindle. I have not gotten to this one yet. This is a historical romance, but it is a MMF where this woman marries this guy to be his beard so that he and his lover can be protected. Society doesn't know that he's gay, but I guess turns out to be bisexual, because then she ends up falling for her husband and his lover. So I still have this. I really have not been in a historical romance mood lately, so I've still been holding off on reading this, but I am still interested and I need to get to it. Same goes for Accidental Witness by Sam Mariano. This is a mafia romance. I can't really remember exactly what it was about. I just know it's mafia. This is still on my Kindle because I still want to read it. I just, for whatever reason, haven't really been in the mood. I also, I have a lot of series on my Kindle, and I haven't been really in a series mood, but that's still on there. Then I had What We May Be by Layla Rain. This is a thriller-y, I think, or a mystery romance. That was MMF. I DNF'd this, unfortunately. I just did not jive with this author's writing style. So I don't know if it's a good book or not. I couldn't get into it, so I DNF'd it. Then Magnet by Joanna Shoup. Again, this is a historical romance, and again, I have not been in a historical romance mood, so I DNF'd this just because I wanted to free up more space on my Kindle for other books that I am interested in reading right now. So I DNF'd that. Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRue. I was wanting to try to read this during October, but I was just not in a mood for reading it. It's a demon kind of romance or something. But I do still want to try to read it, so it's still on here. Gothicana, however you say it, by Runix. I DNF'd this one as well. I did try to read this around October, Halloween time. I did not like this. I don't really understand why it has such high ratings. This was like a gothic, sort of teacher-student romance. It was just very cliched. It at least it felt like to me. And then the writing style, like it just read very juvenile. And I just didn't really care for it. So instead of trying to push myself through it, I DNF'd it. Red Thorns by Rena Kent. I DNF'd this one as well. I'm just like, haven't really been in I don't really know if this is dark romance or not. It sounded like it was kind of a bully romance, and I'm just have not been in the mood for it. And again, I wanted to free up more room for books that I have been in the mood for, so I DNF'd this one. A Ruin of Roses by K.F. Breene. This one I DNF'd, but I'd like to try to come back to it at some point. This is a like Beauty and the Beast retelling, but it's like paranormal with like dragons, like dragon shifters or something. And I was having a hard time getting into it. And I wasn't really jiving with the author's writing style, but like I said, I would like to pick this up again and try it again at some other point when I am more in a paranormal romance type mood. Then Hellfire by Mariel Pomeroy. I still have this one on my TBR. This is a dark high fantasy romance, so that's part of why I haven't picked this one up, because I know it's longer and it is high fantasy, so I just like need to get in like the mindset, I feel like, to read this. But I have heard it's also very spicy. Like it feels like something I would enjoy. I need to get in the right mindset, and I know it's longer, and I just also haven't really been in the mood for reading like longer books right now, so I do plan on still reading that one. Now we get to a book that I did actually read, Savage Lover by Sophie Lark. I did read this. This is on my August mid-month wrap-up, which I will link that. I gave this one 4 stars. This is like the 3rd book of Sophie Lark's Brutal Birthright series, and I really enjoyed it. So if you want to listen to more of my review on that one, and then I was continuing on with the series, so I did actually read that one. And the same for the next one, Lifeblood by Amara Ray. This is a fantasy romance, and it's darker, witches versus warlocks. I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but then I tried to read the next book of the series and I DNF'd the 2nd book of the series because I didn't care whatsoever about any of the characters that I was talking about. So unfortunate for that series. Dead Man Walking. This one's a hard one because I have already read this before and I did like it. I don't remember what I rated it. Like I read it when it came out. And I just had this on here because Gianna Darling was supposed to release her next book of the series, and then all of her accounts got hacked and she just like put the book on hiatus, and we still haven't heard when this book is coming out. And I was hoping it would be later in the year, but there's still nothing about it coming out this year. So I went ahead and like got this off of my kind of DNF'd it. I guess I DNF'd my reread of it. And I'll probably reread it then when we actually have an announcement release date of the next book. Then the next one, excuse me, is going to be Father of the Bride by Chloe Main. Actually, I just finished this week. I did give it 3 stars, and just stay tuned for I think it'll be my November, my end of the year November, or not, well, the end of the month wrap up for November. I will talk about this book, but it's like an age gap, best friend's dad kind of Vegas like romance. Then Dark Fae by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. This one is still on my TBR. I have not gotten to this one yet because, again, I haven't really been in like a series mood, but I just keep hearing so many things about these 2 authors and all their series. I just know their series are so long, and I just don't know if I'm ready to commit to that yet. But I have heard that they're really good, so I need to get onto this one. Then Captive of the Horde King by Zoe Draven. I did recently read this and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to reading more of this series and more by this author. This will be in my November mid-month wrap-up, which I will link. Then the Yaga Writers Trilogy by C. Rochelle. This one is a half read, half DNF'd because it's a trilogy that was like I could borrow all the books all at once. I read the first 2. First one I gave 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. The second one, didn't like it as much, gave it 3 stars. I got very bored in the second one, so then I DNF'd it because I really didn't care about reading the third one and moving on with the series. And that will be in my September mid-month wrap-up, which I will also link. Sorry, my baby woke up, so if you hear other stuff going on, she's in my lap right now and I'm feeding her. Anyway, let's see here. Then Carnage by Sarah Bailey. I still have not gotten to this book and I plan to. I think it's like a 4 Horsemen retelling. I just need to get to it and I don't know why I haven't. Then Torment by Dylan Page. Again, this is on my TBR. I still have not gotten to this. I know this one is like a dark romance. Maybe step sibling, something like that. And then last book for the check-in portion is Omega's Obsession by Sarah Blue. I did read this one. I gave it 3.5 stars. This is the second book of her Heat Haven series, and that'll be in my November mid-month wrap-up. So I recently got to this one. Now for the just straight TBR portion of this, the newer books since my last TBR that I have added, that are, well, I've added a lot. There's like several books that I've read, but that are currently on my TBR that I have added. So first one is going to be To Burn in Brutal Rapture by Nyla K. This one is a long one, but I've been wanting to get to it because I know this is an age gap romance and I love age gap romances, and I think this is with like her godfather, so I don't know if this is also like a ward romance or not. And it seems very taboo and forbidden, so I want to get to that one. Then Heavy Crown by Sophie Lark. So after I read Savage Lover, I read the next 2 books. I think it would have been 2 books because this one is the last book of the Brutal Birthright series, and I really would want to finish this series before the end of the year. That would make me very happy. I'm pretty sure this is about, I want to say his name is Sebastian, and it sounds like he kidnaps the daughter of the Bratva, which is like their enemy, and he falls in love with her or something. Then I have 3 by Helen Juliet. This one sounded good. This is about 3 friends go on a dating app and they all match with the same guy. And they were gonna like let this guy choose who he wanted to be with, and he's like, no, I want to be with all of you. This is all males, so this is a MMMM 4 M's romance. So I was very intrigued by that. Then Hollow Heathens by Nicole Fiorina. I put this one on here during October because I was going to get to it in October, and I just had so many other books that I tried to get to and I never got around to this one. But I do still want to read this one. This sounds like it is a, it's kind of vague on the description, but it sounds like a star-crossed lovers gothic romance, maybe with some paranormal mixed in. I'm not too sure on that bit. And about this girl who like comes back to this small town and she's drawn to this guy who's part of the Hollow Heathens, that the whole town is like terrified of or something. So wanted to get to that. Then we have A Soul to Heal by Oprah Rain. This is the second book in her Duskwalker Bride series. I read the first one and absolutely loved it. So this one came out and I need to read it, but it is a longer book, which is kind of why I've been waiting because I haven't really been in the mood for longer books. This one is our heroine gets thrown in the Veil, which is where demons come from, and this is where Duskwalkers live, and she meets a Duskwalker. So I'm assuming they're going to get together and it's going to be the romance. Not All Is Lost Part 1 by Elizabeth Knight. I've been in an Omegaverse kind of mood, so this is an Omegaverse story. This is about our heroine is an Omega, but in this world of Omegaverse, Omegas are very rare. They're a high commodity. And so much so that it's kind of like dark, like it sounded kind of dark. It talked about how like Omegas are like sold on the black market if they're found. So she presents as an Omega and she goes on the run. And then I think this turns into maybe a reverse harem polyamory romance potentially. Then I have Claimed by the Horde King by Zoe Draven. This is the second book of her, I don't know what the series is. I don't know if it's called Horde Kings series or something. Since I really enjoyed the first one, I wanted to continue on with this series. And this is about another Horde King, and our heroine, it was actually, she did a crime. So the Horde King is supposed, I know. So the Horde King is coming to punish her, and instead of punishing her, he takes her and claims her and is like, you're gonna just be with me. Then we have Protector's Promise by Sarah Blue. This is the next book of her Heat Haven series, another Omegaverse series. This one I need to get to because her fourth book in the series is coming out very, very soon, like next week maybe, or like even sooner. I'm not 100% sure, but I know it's coming out very soon. And that one I'm like very excited about. This one, the Protector's Promise, I'm kind of meh on because it's male-female romance. There's no other like people, like, which is kind of what I like about Omegaverse stories too. Like, well, that's one of the reasons that I like Omegaverse stories. But this is about a pop star and her bodyguard. The pop star is an Omega and her bodyguard is an Alpha. She's all about my camera equipment and everything else I have going on. So, but yeah, so I'm kind of meh on it, but the new book that's coming out has a, I believe like a, it's like a FFMM maybe, something. I know there are female seeds in it because there's a female alpha. And I don't know, it was very intriguing to me. So I really want to get to that one, but I feel like I need to read the next book of the series first before that one comes out. Then I have Guardian by Emmy Chandler. But this sounded like it was a sci-fi romance about like this girl. She's commits a crime of some sort, so she is taken to a prison planet, and at this prison planet she can give herself to somebody for protection. This reminded me of a book that I read a long time ago called Hold by Claire Kent. It's very similar kind of scenario. It sounded really good because I liked it in that book that I read before, so I'm hoping I'd like it in this one. I've kind of been in like a sci-fi romance mood lately, so that's why there's a lot of like sci-fi romances on here. Then Mercy by Sarah Kate. I need to get this book so bad. I keep putting it off. This is the fourth book of her Salacious Players Club series. This is about one of the last like owner of the club. And this is I know this is an older woman, younger man romance. This is her and her friend's son, who he's like another owner, and another owner of this Salacious Players Club. They are friends, and this is his son. And I'm pretty sure it is a dominant submissive story where the woman is dominant and the man is submissive. So I need to get to this. I've been putting it off because older woman, younger man trope just honestly isn't my favorite, and the women being dominant is also not one of my favorites, but I still need to get to it. Then Bloodied Hands by Adelaide Forrest. This is a mafia romance, and I believe this is kind of like starts off Adelaide Forrest's whole like mafia universe, because she has this and like one or two other mafia series that are kind of related. And I have been wanting to try Adelaide Forrest. She is on I have a list of authors that I have wanted to try out this year. I haven't read all of them, but she is on the list, so I thought I would try to maybe get to this before the end of the year. Don't know if that's gonna happen, but we'll see. But yes, and this is about, it sounds like our heroine gets caught in a robbery and she is saved by this guy who's in the mafia somehow. It kind of, the description almost made it sound like a second chance romance, but I'm not 100% sure if that is accurate. Then Demon Lover by Heather Gear. I'm not 100% sure how you say her last name. But this sounded really cool because I've also kind of been in like a demon romance or monster romance. I've been in that mood too. But this is about our heroine, and she has been dreaming about an incubus, and then she finds out that this incubus that she's been dreaming about is actually real. So she like makes a bargain with him and lets him stay with her. I don't know. Demon romance, it sounded good. And then the last book that is on my TBR for Kindle, my Kindle Unlimited, is A Monster's Treasure by Linny Lee. I'm probably butchering that name, but and this one is, our heroine is convicted of a crime and she is given to the Cadrixans, which they're like aliens that kind of look like demons during their rutting season. So that sounded good. That rutting season, that kind of is like a thing that happens a lot in Omegaverse stories. So I don't know if this happens to have a little bit of like Omegaverse like sprawled into it, but it sounds like this could potentially be fated mates, because once she's given to them, one of them wants to claim her like forever. But yeah, so it sounded really good, so I'd like to try to get to it. But yes, so that is going to be it for my Kindle Unlimited check-in / TBR. I should probably do this a little bit more often. Like, I was wanting to try to do this every season, but who knows if that'll happen. Please leave a comment down below about some of the books that are on your Kindle Unlimited TBR, if you have Kindle Unlimited, or just in general, what are some books that you have on your TBR? Have you read some of these books that are on mine? What should I try to get to first? If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.